Good morning. Today we will see the fourth year BSc Nursing degree regular examination which was conducted in April 2021 of the new scheme, that is 2016 scheme. So the first long essay was describe the qualities of an effective teacher and explain the principles of teaching. We will see the qualities of an effective teacher. The first one is the desirable personal traits. They include the teacher should be likable, approachable, caring, active, neat appearance, dress modesty, simple and sense of humor. And these are the personal traits which the effective teacher should have. Secondly, she or he should be a user of effective teaching method. That means according to the subject and the teacher and the students, the teacher should use an effective teaching method which will impart the knowledge. And thirdly, creator of a good classroom environment. The classroom encourages the students and paying special attention to the weak students by remembering that all the students in the classroom are not bright. So she or he has to give a special importance to the weak students and controlling the students. And fourthly, mastery of the competency of the particular subject. That means ability to inspire the students, providing guidance and counseling, ability to judge the students fairly, possess leadership skills, evaluate students' performance, able to perform self-analysis. That means that if the teacher has done something wrong or some mistake from his or her side, he should be ready to acknowledge that and able to accept criticism positively. And professional decision maker. By utilizing the competencies, the teacher has to decide whom to teach, why to teach, where to teach, what to teach, and how to teach and when to teach. These are the qualities of an effective teacher. According to J. Gilbert, the purpose of the teaching helps the students. So, it has to be acquire and retain and able to use the knowledge, understand, analyze, synthesize, and evaluate, achieve skills, establish habits, develop attitudes, and the principles of teaching should include principles of motivation, activity, creativity, selection, division, correlation, connecting with life, revision and practice, arouse interest in the students, well-defined objectives. The short essay, the first question is describe suggestions for constructing essay questions. Explain the general principles of evaluation. The general principles of evaluation should include determining and classifying what to be evaluated, always have a priority in the evaluation process. The objectives must be clearly stated before the evaluation is made, and the technique should be selected in terms of the purpose to be served. And comprehensive evaluation requires a variety of evaluation techniques. That means we should not evaluate using a particular particular method. We have to use a variety of evaluation method. And keep in mind that no single evaluation technique is adequate to evaluate various outcomes. And proper use of evaluation techniques require an awareness of their limitations as well as their strength. Evaluation is a means to an end but not an end by itself. Evaluation procedures must contribute to improve decisions of instruction, guidance, and administrative nature. Adequacy of experience should be made in terms of excellence of performance and quality of the experience. Record for the practice should reflect in the objectives of practice and give evidence to the extent of the achievement in these objectives. Suggestions for constructing essay questions include clearly define intended learning outcome to be assessed by the item by following intended learning outcome lends to itself better assessed in an early question. Avoid using essay questions for intended learning outcome that can be better assessed by other kind of assessment. Clearly define and situate a task within the problem of situation. That means less focused essay question include evaluate the impact of diuretics on patient. But a more focused essay question means evaluate the impact of potassium sparing diuretics on patients with hyperkalemia. Present a reasonable task to the students. The task can be written as a statement or a question. Specify the relative point value and approximate time limit for clear directions. State the criteria for grading. Use several relatively short essay questions rather than one long one. Avoid use of options in the questions. Improve the essay question through preview and review. The third question is describe the guidelines for effective chalkboard. Explain the principles of an AV-Aids. The guidelines for use of effective chalkboard include: don't write everything on the chalkboard. It has been observed that most convenient place to stand towards the left side of the chalkboard as it allows you to turn from the chalkboard to see the class. Take half stick of the chalk and hold the chalk between the thumb and forefingers. Write the sequence as a headline and subline. There should be an equal gap in between the words. Size of each letter should be equal and broad. Gaps between each word should be uniform. The margin space for top and bottom board should be equal. Then more pressure using strong line. Try to keep by 2/3 of the part of the board while drawing. Never use fingers in place of the duster. And use duster from top to bottom and again top to bottom by lifting rather than rubbing to avoid dust allergy. Write in straight rows starting from the top corner. Avoid abbreviations. Plan ahead what you will write on the chalkboard. Front row of the students be at least 8 feet away from each. Chalkboard that service is made at least yearly. Board should be cleaned after each class. Don't talk as you write. Face the group while after writing and continue the discussion. Extreme lower corners should not be used. Use colored chalk when needed or while drawing the diagrams. Do not stand in front of the board and stand on one side. The principles of use of AV-Aids include: first in the principle of selection. That include they should suit the age level, grade level and other characteristic of the learners. It should be interesting and motivating. There should be true representatives of the real things. They should be have a realization of desired learning objectives. Second is principle of preparation. It includes as far as possible locally available material should be used as an AV-Aids. Then the teacher should receive some training in preparation of the AV-Aids. Teachers themselves should prepare some of the AV-Aids and students may be associated in preparation of the AV-Aids. Third is principle in handling. Arrange of keeping aids safely also facilitate the effective use of teachers for use. Then principles of presentation. Teachers should carefully visualize the use of teaching aids before their actual presentation. They should fully familiar themselves with the use of manipulation of the aids. Adequate care should be taken to handle an aid in such a way that no damage is done to it. An aid should be displayed properly so that all students are able to see it, observe it and derive maximum benefit out of it. And principles of response. The teacher should guide the students to respond actively to AV stimuli. Principle of evaluation. Continuous evaluation is necessary. That means to find out this particular AV should be able to meet the objective what the teacher was intended. Next question is principle of student discipline. A student discipline should be in harmony with the total goals of education, based on and controlled by love, not by fear. Positive and constructive. Ensure quality of justice to all. That means to respect individual rights and dignity and humanitarian treatment of the same. That means we should not treat some students in a particular way and other students in some other way. For successful implementation of educational program, disciplinary policies and procedures should be primarily preventive, secondly corrective and never retributive. Situation-specific disciplinary action followed by counseling. It is something which the teacher helps the children to attain, not something the teacher maintain. Discipline in personal, that make talk in private. Relate the act of misconduct to the act of correction. Avoid collective punishment. Collective punishment by doing the mistake when one person we should not punish the whole class. Never allow disciplinary procedures to interfere with educational opportunities. That means never miss the class because they have done some mistake. They should not be stand outside. That means they are missing a class. So the educational opportunity should be never missed. Serious case only to refer further. Seek professional help if we need. Then the fifth question, criteria for selection of learning experience. It should be inconsistent with the philosophy of the institution, overall objective of the particular program. It should be varied and flexible. It will give students opportunity to practice the kind of behavior what we learn in that class. Provide opportunity to independent thinking and decision making. It should be adapted to the need of the students. It should be arranged in a manner that provides continuity, correlation and integration of theory and practice. Well planned and evaluated cooperatively by the student and the teacher. It should give appropriate weightage according to the relative importance of various learning experience and the content. Basic principles of guidance include: guidance is not a continuous process, means guidance is a continuous process. Guidance activities are specifically planned and developed to ensure program effectiveness. Guidance should not be limited to few. Guidance is fundamentally the responsibility of the parents in the home and of the teachers in the school. Guidance in education, but not all education is guidance. Guidance is a learning process. Guidance helps the client to understand himself. Guidance is based on true concept of the client. Guidance program should be flexible in terms of individual and community needs, or else it loses its value. The function of guidance is to help the person to formulate goals of behavior which can be achieved. The responsibility for administration of the guidance program should be centered on a qualified trained head. Continuous or periodic appraisal should be made. Guidance is based upon individual need, that is freedom of respect and dignity. Each individual is different from every other individual. So each individual is combination of a characteristic which provides uniqueness to each person. Similarly, human beings have the immense potential. The dignity of individual is supreme. Next is discussion as a method of teaching. Discussion is the process whereby two or more people express, clarify, and pool their knowledge, experience, opinions, and feelings. The principles include include the principles, the purpose, the classroom discussion techniques, role of a teacher, and role of a student. This has been better explained in the teaching methods. So you can just refer those videos for better. Then steps in lesson planning include planning, preparation of introduction, presentation, recapitulation or closing. This also have been explained in the lesson plan video. Then differentiate between simulation and play. Role play. Simulation is provided the opportunity for the students to think critically, problem solve, use clinical reasoning and care of diverse patients in non-threatening, safe environment. The use of human patient simulators have become the common practice, and simulation-based pedagogy allows the students to integrate psychomotor skill performance, critical thinking, clinical judgment, and communication skills while gaining confidence in the clinical setting, and also offers an opportunity for assessment and remediation of skills and continued learning. But role play is an educational technique in which the people spontaneously act out problems of human relationship and realize and enable them with the help of other role players and observers. Purpose of role play include develop leadership skills, interview and social interaction, develop sensitivity to others' feeling by having opportunity to put oneself to others' place, develop ability to observe and analyze situations, give reality and concreteness to learning situation. Role play is a boon for withdrawn students or a child. He gets an opportunity to come up and overcome his feelings or inferiority. Then next is resource unit and a teaching unit. Resource unit is the teacher's guide to plan and action. It should contain the statement of objective, problem or the topic, approach, content or subject matter, direct and related experiences, evaluation of learning and collection of instructional resources. But a teaching unit is a unit which used to describe the development of unit for a teaching in the classroom. This needs maturity level and background experience of the students will be included in this unit. Answer briefly. Features of computer-assisted exam learning. It's an interactive session, allows students to progress at their own pace at work, then provide immediate feedback, offer a different type of activity and change of pace from teachers-led group or group instruction. Improve instruction for the students with disabilities because students receive immediate feedback. Capture students' attention because the programs are interactive and engage the students' spirit of competitiveness. Move the students at their own pace and usually do not move ahead until they have mastered the skill. Provide differentiated lessons to challenge the students who are at risk, average or gifted. Features of athleticism. The aim of education is to prepare good citizens, recommends broad and flexible curriculum, emphasis on coordination of various subjects, importance of co-curricular activities are there, ensuring availability of subject expert and better teachers, suggest scientific teaching methods based on principles of learning by doing, learning by play and learning by observation, Consider the tool as a social control. Recommends professional status for teaching job. Importance of self-discipline. Highlight responsibility of government in providing education, especially in the primary level and for handicapped children. Emphasize on adult and social education. Harmonious relationship between among the school and the society. Then laws of learning include law effect, exercise, law of multiple response and varied reaction, law of analogy, and law of associate shifting. And the last question is observational checklist. An observational checklist is a list of questions in which the observer need to answer when they are observing and assessing an individual's skills or behaviors. Checklists are efficient and convenient. They are not too demanding of time. Progress within the huge range of behaviors and skills can be assessed using checklist. Thank you. Thank you for listening.